Hello, this is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck Good Attitude Services. It's October 3rd, 2024. It's a nice, cool day. Today I'm inside the office, and I just wanted to talk about a subject that I've talked about many times in my videos, and that's repeat customers and the importance of repeat customers for your service. But what I want to talk about today, it's also, you may have regular customers that hire you a lot, and they work out for years, and they're great, and those are the customers you want to keep and keep that relationship there. And when they, put them on a priority list when they call you, it's just to keep those customers because they're good to you, and it's a win-win situation. But there are also some customers that you may have had for some time that just don't work out after a while. They're not the customer that you want, and you don't want to, no longer want to work for them. It's okay to let that customer go, because if it's causing problems for you, mentally or whatever it is, or financially, if it's just something that you don't really want to deal with and it's not worth it for you, it's okay to let that customer go. And I recently had to let a customer go that I had been working for quite some time. It started out as a good relationship as far as working for them, and they paid me good, and they treated me good, but there were some red flags on how they were saying certain things, and things that I should have paid attention to, because it escalated. And it got worse, and the last move I did for them, they were blaming me for things that got damaged that I did not damage. I know 100% that I did not damage that item, and they kept pushing. And they were also pushing me, just kind of nitpicking about a lot of things. It got very uncomfortable, and I just had to let that customer go, because I could have continued working for them. They had a lot more work coming up, but I really had to let that customer go, and that's fine, because one door closes, another door opens. And I wanted customers. I'm designing my business for customers that I want to work for and want to work with. And that's how I look at it as a small service provider. I'm looking for people that I really want to work for and have a win-win situation. But I don't want to have to work for people that are going to be bothering me. They're going to be a liability. They're going to create this liability, like always look for things that I'm going to be, like if I damage something or something like that, which a lot of times it may not be true. And if it is true, I'll negotiate. I'll help. I'll be honest if something's damaged. That's happened before, and I'll pay for it, or I'll negotiate. But when they're making stuff up and blaming me, that's where I have to stop. That's not something I'm going to deal with. And that's what happened. So I had to let them go. And it happened in the past before. I had a customer that I worked for, doing deliveries for, and I ended up doing moving for, and they it turned into a really bad situation. I saw some red flags early on, but by the time I had ended up doing a really big job for them, they started blaming me, and they made some claims against, saying that I damaged some items, and I had to pay for those items, and I ended up not making any money on that job because I had to pay my workers at the time I had hired. I had to pay for a rental truck. I had to pay for a lot of things that overhead that once I had to negotiate, because they were threatening to sue me and stuff. So I don't want to have to go to court, and I knew that I didn't do anything wrong. And the things that she said that I did damage, which I don't believe I did, I went ahead and hired someone to have it fixed and paid for it. And they were still angry, and even the person that repaired it, it was just it just was a bad situation for me. In the end, I had to let that customer go. They had contacted me later to do services. I just had to say no. There is a time where I believe that for me that I'm not going to deal with that stuff. I don't need to. I'm not hired by a company, and I have to go to that job and deal with micromanagement and stuff. I'm my own self-employed person. I create my own situations with customers, and if they work out great and it's a win-win situation, I'm happy and they're happy, and that's great. And that's what I'm looking for, building those relationships. I'm not looking to work for people who are going to belittle me, disrespect me, try to blame me for things, and just have really bad attitude towards me after a while, and it just becomes a bad experience for me, and I don't need that. So I'm not going to put up with that just to get paid and to have a customer. I don't need that. I can go on and move on to another customer. That's the beauty of having a self-employment situation and having your own business, is that you can choose who to work for. Just like when you go work for a job, you choose that company. They choose to hire you, and if it works out, it's a win-win situation. And if it doesn't, they fire you. or if you don't like the place, you quit. So in my case, a customer will call me, and if I think it's a good situation and I like the person as a customer, I'll work for them. But if it doesn't work out great on the job, and if they call me again, I probably won't do their job. I'm not going to work for them again. But if it works out and it's a good situation and they call me again, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to keep that customer for a lifetime. But if they start acting towards me, against me, and in doing things that I don't enjoy or don't really want to be around, like if they're trying to blame me and stuff, and creating situations which I know are not my fault, then and becoming possibly a liability, because if that escalates and then they start to try to sue you for whatever item that they believe that you damaged, even if you didn't, it's hard to prove, and then you end up having to lose money on that. So there's always, be careful if you have these red flags with customers and they start to say things or acting a certain way that it's just not, you don't want to be around that, and you don't feel comfortable with that situation. There's nothing wrong with letting that customer go. There's always other customers around the corner. Like I said before, one door closes, another door opens, and it's going to be a better situation in the end. So that's kind of all I want to talk about. I didn't want to go too much into detail on that situation. It's just I wanted to say that because I've had that happen to me before, and sometimes even when I'm starting to see those red flags, and sometimes I forget, and I need to remind myself that it's better to just end the relationship as far as that with the customer before anything else happens, and you're move on to a better customer. And I know certain situations it can be more complicated when you're dealing with with a corporation, like if you're doing a contract with a company, when there's a lot more moving parts than just one customer. That could be more complicated. But even then, I've dealt with some of those contracts that didn't work out too, because of maybe the manager I was dealing with, or someone I was dealing with directly through the company. So this was just a regular customer, or was a residential customer, so I wasn't dealing with a contract. In that case, you can just tell a customer, I don't want to work with you anymore, and that's that. If you have a contract, that's something that's totally different, because if you sign a contract, that they expect you to be, depending on the contract, they're expecting you to do this service for a certain amount of time, and it's written in that contract, you might have a problem. I don't tend to do those type of contracts. I just do customer contracts, so I don't worry about that. If the customer starts to, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very good match as far as working with them anymore, I just cut the ties with them, and that's it, and move on to the next customer. So that's all I wanted to say today. I hope you're all doing great. It's still the beginning of October. October is a great month for making money for me. In the past, I've had really good jobs in October. It's the beginning of October, so I'm hoping for some really good jobs, because when I look back on my calendar from last year and the year before, October has always been a good month for me. And so I'm hoping it's going to be a good month too for me again. Last month was okay, but I think this is going to be a better month. Anyway, this is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck Good Attitude Services. Have a great week. We're at the end of the week right now. God, this went by pretty fast. It's already Thursday. So have a great weekend. And weekends are great for junk removal, moving, delivery, service, providing jobs, landscaping. Hey, it's a great time for landscaping right now too, because the leaves are falling. So whatever service you have, do great out there this weekend and next week and the rest of the month. This is Daryl. Have a great night.